Are you kidding me? I opened a text file and said, "What app do you want to use? Notepad or Notepad?" I hate you.
Well, would you like to start it off whenever you're ready?
Do we have an intro?
No, we don't. We haven't done enough preparing for this at all. That's why I was like, we need to figure out a name. We need to.
The Crapcast is a good name, though.
The Crapcast works. That is good.
The Crapcast work. We have it, and we can always add an intro later. Like it doesn't have to. Okay. So hold on. Let me finish texting this person who keeps spamming me.
Okay. Tell her I said hi.
It's my dad. Don't worry.
Oh.
Don't worry. No worry in here. Okay. Welcome everybody to the first episode of whatever on God's green earth this is. I think we're gonna call it the Crapcast, but it started out with me casually mentioning the Magic Tree House and wanting to do a podcast about the Magic Tree House, and me and Eggs both agreed that we liked the Magic Tree House. However, we are both. It's been about 15 or so years since we've both read the Magic Tree House, so we don't remember any of it other than the fact that we liked it. So what we wanted to do was to read a book of the Magic Tree House in order from the order of release, starting from 1 to, we believe there is like 55 or so mainline series novels. And so we're gonna start it off this week with the first one, and I don't know exactly how it's gonna go, but I think we are gonna start with first we're gonna do like an interesting thing about the series. Like each week we're gonna find some cool fact or something about it, and then after that we're gonna go into the plot summary of that week and talk about what happens in this version of the book. And I keep saying version. I have no idea what I'm trying to say. What's a better word for not version? This, not edition. This. Oh, what is like one
Volume?
book in a series?
Volume?
Sure. Yeah, I could. Yeah, this volume. I don't know.
This book.
Somebody say something in the comments, because I am handicapped. But. We're going to do talk about it, some interesting things that happen, what we like about it, stuff like that. And then we are going to give it a rating based on this terrible scale that we have created, which we will explain later on in this episode once we get there. However, this week is Dinosaurs at Dawn, which was the first Magic Tree House book, right? I believe so.
I thought it was Dinosaurs Before Dark.
Oh, Dinosaurs Before Dark. Okay, that is 100% correct.
This is going.
It's off
quite
to
bad.
It's off. It's off to a great.
You were thinking The Night at Dark, or The Night at Dawn. I'm sorry. The net with the next.
Night
book.
at Dawn. Okay. Well, this one was, holy moly, I had no idea. This one was originally released July 28th of 92.
Yeah, it was.
I thought they were like late 90s, not that early. Holy moly. So I'm going to pull up a picture of the cover of it real fast, because this is the first thing we're going to talk about is the cover, because one of our grading criteria is the cover, like the title and the cover. That's going to be on our grading thing. We have 5 categories for the grading of each book. We're going to grade each one, and then later on we'll take a look at them and maybe see good ones versus not so good ones. The first category is entertainment, and that's purely how much entertainment the book brought us, just like how fun was it to read and stuff. The second category is kind of a joke, and it's just pictures, because they have these like hand-drawn black and white pencil sketch pictures throughout the book, and it's kind of great. The third category is chapters, and it's just the names of the chapters, because they're all very like they give no information. They're very generic, but if you read them out of context, they're kind of funny. Like, so we'll get to that. But one of them, and then there's cover, and that is just purely like that includes the title and the illustration on the front, because they all follow that same like overlay of the Magic Treehouse design. But then there's like the main sketch about the theme of not the theme but the subject of the book, and then there's length, which is also a joke because they're all very short. They're like I think the longest ones are like 70 pages or so, but this one was like 30. And so
it was
but we're
30
just gonna...
pages, but like it also had like 4 pages as an outro and like just pictures
yeah,
and then
and
3
like
pages with
it.
yeah.
There was like 10 pages of a preview for the next book.
I think in total it
funny.
was like 20 pages for the actual story.
It was nothing. So that one's also a joke, but these are all going to be on a scale of 10. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to give a score for each category, and Tyler is too.
Yes.
And then we might have an average. I don't know, but so I'm going to pull up the cover for this one, and this one is Dinosaurs Before Dark, and it's interesting because you have the boy's name is Jack, right? Yeah, Jack is the boy, and he's riding. I already forget what the name of that dinosaur was.
Pteranodon?
Yeah, Pteranodon. Let me Google this one.
Okay, this was a complaint I had, and I'm gonna bring it up now. This is a terrible book to start young readers on. This is the first in a series for what? This was made for what, like 5 to 10 years old? You would think.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of dinosaur names that I didn't even know.
Pteranodon. It's Pteranodon.
Okay.
Yeah, I am 20 years of age and had to Google the pronunciation for Pteranodon.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry. I even speak another language for another extent, and I can't even pronounce. I didn't know that was Pteranodon. So I might be slightly dumb, which I will admit, but still. So Jack is riding a Pteranodon in the cover. He's kind of cross-eyed looking at something, and Annie, his younger sister, is staring up at him while the Pteranodon is staring at the ground. I don't know, but his beak's open.
She's like running along with it, and she's keeping up pretty well, surprisingly.
I don't think anything's to scale. Look how small the tree is in the background compared to like that giant mountain, and then like the giant whatever cactus tree to the right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may just be. It's just weird perspective. And then there's a river. Where does that river go? Does it turn? It must have to turn before that hill that they're on.
Yeah, that looks like it turns down there. At the very back.
I mean, there's a lot going on though. I want to know what Jack's looking at. Maybe the T-Rex, the Triceratops that they run into.
Maybe
because doesn't the Pteranodon save Jack? Yeah, it does.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in the plot.
So maybe. Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on here, but I honestly don't have a baseline to go off of.
Yeah, that's
this
kind
is
of like
gonna be it.
The issue I had with scoring with this book is we've got no baseline, so pretty much it's a spoiler, but pretty much everything is 5s for me because this is like I don't know what's good, I don't know what's bad.
Because I'm gonna give it 5 for the cover too because I have no idea. I might adjust that later. We might do a podcast episode where we go back and adjust some ratings once we have them, but we will. I'm with you where I just have no idea. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 too.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Tyler, do you give it a 5 as well?
Yes.
Because I'll go and throw your score on the doc. Okay, that's good. All right, and so let's start with the plot, which this is the first book in the series, so they kind of introduce this tree house, right?
Yeah. It's honestly the most plot-heavy book of the series, I'd say, if I remember. But by my vague memory of the series, most books are just kind of here's a small clue to what's going on. But this one was like, we've got to introduce the treehouse, the magic treehouse.
I actually really enjoyed on the first page where it said Annie loved pretend stuff, but Jack was 8.5. He liked and then italicized real things.
Yeah,
that's so generic that it is absolutely great. like he liked real things.
Things.
Yeah, yeah. So he liked real things, and so I guess she was playing a game about a monster, and they're just playing in their hometown of Frog Creek, Pennsylvania.
Which I looked up. It
And
is not a real place.
it is not.
It is not a real place.
All right.
There's a place called like Frog Rock in Pennsylvania, but it's like a rock inside of a river that I'm assuming like frogs go on or something, but there's no Frog Creek.
Interesting. Interesting. And then so I guess Annie runs off into the distance, and Jack is like, "Come back here! I want to play with real things." Or I don't know what was going on there, but
Come back here! I want to play with a pencil.
Yeah. Give me the book. And so that happens, and then Annie's under this treehouse, and Jack's like, "Whoa!" And then quote, "This is the longest rope ladder Jack had ever seen." He liked it because it was real. It was like he could touch it.
Well, my question
That's why
is,
I liked it so much.
How many rope ladders has Jack seen at this point? He's 8.5.
At his ripe age of 8.5. Keep in mind, I'm 20, and I think I've seen like one in my life.
Yes.
Maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then so he sees this long rope ladder, and he just says, "Wow!" Like that's all he whispers it. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
And then I like how they classify that the ladder went all the way up to the top of the tree, as to where else. Or I guess maybe they said like the tree house is halfway up the tree. I could see that. Maybe they did clarify. I'm just an idiot. But
well, no, it says the ladder went all the way up to the top of the tree. There, at the top, was a tree house.
Okay, that's true. "That must be the highest tree in the world," said Annie. "Who built it?" asked Jack. "Nobody builds trees, Jack. You're 8.5. Come on now." And so basically, Jack's like, "Nah, we don't know who this is. We don't want to go infringe on it." And Annie's like, "Get up here!" and starts taking off. And so then Jack was like, "All right." So they both.
Well, Annie gets up there. And he's like, "Don't know." He's like, "Keep coming back. Come back down. You can't be up there." She's like, "It's got books in it." And he goes, "Well, I fucking love books, and those are real."
He's like, "Those are real, so I'm gonna get up there, boy. I'm gonna pull on up." And so he quote pushed his glasses into place and climbed up. So I already don't like Jack. No.
Who does he think he is?
Okay, so yeah, right. Who does he think he is? So yeah, they get up there and they start looking at books. Like they just start.
They get up there and they immediately start to ransack the place.
True. They're just like, "We don't know who this is. We should leave." Open every book and start flipping every page. And then he goes, this is also my favorite part. He said something along the lines of, "No, we better not," said Jack. "We don't know who these books belong to." And then he starts tearing through a book himself.
Yeah, but even as he said this, Jack opened the dinosaur book to where the bookmark was. He opened the book that someone was actively reading right after saying, "We shouldn't go through
that had
this."
A bookmark. Yeah, he's like, "We shouldn't do this. Let me in." And so basically, yeah, they start reading about these dinosaurs in this thing, and then I'm guessing they hear a pteranodon outside, and they look, and literally outside the window of the treehouse was a pteranodon flying.
Which it confuses me a little bit. Maybe they explain it later in the books, but I thought the idea was they teleport to the place by wishing to go there. But this is way before the wish had happened or the teleportation had happened. There is just a dinosaur outside the window of this treehouse in their world right now.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to figure out how to introduce it, maybe. I'm not sure. But the illustration's pretty funny. It's like Jack looking thick as hell, leaning out the side of the treehouse.
He got that curve on his back going.
8-year-old Jack is thick as shit, leaning out of this window, looking at this pteranodon in this tree. So that's interesting. Which, might I add, I have no idea how this treehouse is secured to the tree at this point by looking at this illustration.
I say by looking at the illustration, it's like 2 wedges.
Yeah, by looking at the illustration, Jack should not be putting that much that much trust on this tree branch by leaning out that far. Really interesting. But yeah, so he leans out, and then like the pteranodon comes towards the tree house, and then he like suddenly everything starts turning, the wind starts picking up, and the tree house starts spinning, and things go. They both they're like, get down, and they like sit there, and then the treehouse spins faster and faster, and then everything was still. So they quote, and then they open their eyes, look out the window, and now they're in like 3000 BC or whenever dinosaurs ruled the world, a couple million years ago, maybe not 3000.
I like this specifically. It says the treehouse was still high up in an oak tree, but it wasn't the same oak tree. How do you know that? Like what?
Because he's Jack. He likes real things. He likes real things. He really felt up this oak tree, and he's like, the bark is different. It doesn't smell the same.
The leaf on the left branch is slightly smaller now. It's not the same.
This is not the same oak tree. Yeah, so they look out the tree, and the pteranodon is still flying around, but now it's dinosaur times. There's a term for that. Is it Paleozoic or something?
I have no clue, to be honest.
I don't know. I think it's after Paleozoic. I don't know, but dinosaur times. This isn't a smart podcast.
No, we're reading the Magic Tree House.
We're having trouble.
We're in our 20s, and we're having trouble reading the Magic Tree House.
Shh, we don't want to talk about it. So yeah, they're in dinosaur times, and basically, yeah, that's it. And then Jack starts freaking out because he's a giant vagina, and is like, "This can't be real. Nothing. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I like real things, but this isn't real." And then Annie's like, "Oh my gosh, a dinosaur!" Like Annie's vibing. Annie is 100% vibing, and she's like, "Yo, this is kind of cool."
Yeah, Annie's like, "Look at this gigantic monster. I'm gonna go touch it."
Yeah, I'm gonna go touch it. And Jack's like, like he's like hyperventilating in the treehouse, like, "You're nuts. You're nuts."
I gotta say, like, Annie, even though she's only 7, is a lot smarter in this than I think Jack is. Like, some of the stuff she says is like
she's
way too
down to earth.
Not 7-year-old. I wrote it down somewhere. What was the
Did you write quote? She's way too not 7-year-old.
No. No, I mean a specific quote she had said. She had said. Where did it go?
While he's finding that, Jack looked down at the book. He read the words under the picture. This flying reptile lived in the Cretaceous period. Oh, so I was wrong. It's not Paleozoic. It's Cretaceous. I'm going to pronounce that wrong too. Somebody correct me.
Is it Croatius or I don't know.
No, it's not Croatia. It vanished 65 million years ago, and then Jack's like, nah. Like, nah. This ain't it. That's cap. That's cap. We ain't here. That's cap. And then Annie's meanwhile down there like petting this thing, like, "Hey, come down. He's nice." And then Jack's freaking out still. And so finally, Annie runs down, and Jack is still freaking out. And Annie walks up to this creature and just starts petting it. And the illustration's pretty interesting. It's Annie climbing down the ladder with some honestly fresh ass J's on. I do not know what those are, but Annie has some fire shoe game.
I mean, she really does.
Yeah, she's got they're like the long socks too. Like Annie is shitting on people right now.
Yeah, she is. The issue I have though is that they're going to be pretty dirty after this little trip.
Yeah, those do look like the off-whites, like she's out here. And so she was trying to make friends with it, and she touched it, and then, quote, she stroked his neck.
And his crest.
But, and then Jack finally decided not to be a giant bitch and also go down the rope ladder.
This is where the line I was talking about comes in, is she's trying to tell him to pet the dinosaur, and he's like, I don't know, and she says, quote, don't think, Jack, just do it. And I'm like, is that something a 7-year-old would say?
Oh, another thing, this is my reoccurring thing. So right here, quote, take notes like a scientist is what Jack like this. He does this throughout the entire thing, but he says, if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna do some groundbreaking research. And so he jumps down, and Annie starts roasting him about being a giant bitch, and is like, just pet him. And so Jack finally does that, and then scared to death, he pulls out his backpack and writes down fuzzy skin,
because he's soft. He feels like Henry, which is their neighbor's dog.
Neighbor's dog.
Mm-hmm. And so they're saying this dinosaur feels like their neighbor's dog Henry, so they just name the dinosaur Henry.
Yeah, and then Jack goes, I wonder how smart he is. And then Annie goes, very smart. And Jack goes, don't count on it. His brain's probably no bigger than a bean. And writes down in his notebook, small brain, question mark?
Yeah.
So his Jack's scared like a bitch. His sister is petting a dinosaur, and he thinks it's time to get out the fucking handy dandy notebook and plays Blue's Clues, proceeded by writing down small brain after determining purely by the size of the dinosaur that he's dumb. But this is the best part. The next page has an illustration of the dinosaur, and the dinosaur's head is larger than both of theirs combined.
The dinosaur's head,
dinosaur's head is larger than Jack. Period. Jack goes, small brain.
If you just take the beak and the crest, it's taller than Jack.
And he's just like,
small brain.
Proceeded by saying, mouth like scissors. After comparing his, so like, instead of like, Jack likes real things. He's 8.5. He's really out here, But instead of like counting teeth or like drawing a rough outline of their shape or some like important research, he just compares them to something without teeth at all. He's just like, yeah, they're like scissors. And
his
so all I'm saying is, I think
his mouth is like scissors, and he's a dum-dum.
He's dumb. I think Jack should work on his note-taking skills. That's all I'm gonna say.
If this series is gonna go on, he's got to work on those notes.
Yeah, I mean, this is insanely awful observations coming out of Jack here.
Meanwhile, the whole time Annie is sitting there trying to communicate with this dinosaur, like, how are you doing? Hi! But, like, I think at one point, what is it? Like, Henry, she's like, are you trying to talk to me, Henry? And Jack just calls her dumb and stupid or something for trying to talk to this dinosaur.
Did we come to a long time ago, Henry? As if he's just gonna be like, yeah, this is it. Like, you really came back. Like, Henry the Pteranodon is just gonna start speaking fluent English and answer all their questions. But so now they, I guess they leave. And
well, Annie sees a big dinosaur at the top of the hill.
And they get in the treehouse, or no? Because they got back in the tree.
Yeah, they ran back into the treehouse because they think it's gonna, or Jack thinks it's going to eat them both.
Ah, okay. And then so they get in the thing, and he looks in the book, and he says, Triceratops.
He says, vegan.
Yeah, he says, this plant-eating dinosaur weighed over 12,000 pounds. And he slams the book shut like an absolute Einstein and goes, just plants, no meat. And so that's about it. And then Annie's like, all right, let's go pet him. He can't kill us. And then Jack's like, what?
Are you nuts? Said Jack. And then Annie pesters him by saying, like, "Don't you want to take notes about him?"
So Annie's smart as hell, knows how to play her cards right to get what she wants, and Jack is a giant bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have this little exchange that kind of confused me. It says it's between the two of them. Jack says, "Just promise you won't pet him." Annie says, "I promise." Then he says, "Promise you won't kiss him." Then Annie says, "I promise." And then Jack says, "Promise you won't talk to him." Annie says, "I promise." And then it says, "Promise you won't." And then she's just like, "Get on with it, go." And does that exchange seem like a normal 7 to 8 year old conversation about this weird monster that they've both discovered?
I just really want to see what happens when Annie gets a girlfriend at 15, because Jack is quite controlling.
Jack is quite controlling.
But it's interesting, and so yeah, it is a really, really weird, like, I guess it could be like an altercation, or it's just like a weird thing they talk back and forth about, and then finally they just go. So yeah, they step off the ladder, and then Pteranodon gave them a kind look, and Annie blew him a kiss, which I found that kind of funny. I found that one kind of funny, and then they start heading towards where were they going to? The Triceratops? Yeah. And so yeah, they go over there, and then Jack starts looking at him, and he's like, he quote, "bigger than a truck." But that's not what Jack said. That's what the author says about it. And he was eating flowers on a tree, and so Jack pulls out his notebook, and with his massive scientist abilities, he writes, "eats flowers."
Mm-hmm.
and then he looks at it again and goes, "eat slowly." So we got big scientist Jack out here, really observing the things, not like what they eat or like, exactly, or sketching something. Nah, he just says eats flowers, and then stares again and goes, "eat slowly."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. I think the naivety of Jack is awesome.
Yeah, I like it. It's not the dynamic I expected between the two of them. Like, I didn't expect him to be so reserved. You know what I mean? Like, I expected Annie to be playful, but not the smart one, if that makes sense. Like Jack's just reserved, but he's not actually smart, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can see it. I think they complement each other kind of well for being 8.5 and 7.
7, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so Annie's like now doing the exact same thing. She's just flying away towards this dinosaur, and Jack is freaking out yet again. Like, absolutely freaking out, yelling, "Get back! Watch out for his horns!" And this Triceratops is showing no signs of aggression and just like staring at Annie, and is just like, "Oh, hi."
As a matter of fact, it saw Annie and it said, "Oh, well, I'm out of here. I'm gonna leave," and just walks off.
And then, yeah, Jack sees this whole altercation as he's flipping out and writes down, "nice."
Nice.
And all I gotta say about that is, nice.
I mean, looking at that Triceratops ass in this pic, I mean...
Yeah. The Triceratops is bulling down the hill in this photo.
Them thighs pretty thick.
Yeah, so this is my best part. He is freaking out about this Triceratops showing no aggressive. Meanwhile, there is 2 active volcanoes in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there is active volcanoes erupting in the background of this photo, and Jack gives not one single mind to those. Yeah. However, he is freaking out at the Triceratops that is nice and kind.
And immediately after observing that it's nice, he goes to chase Annie down to get her away from the dinosaur. Like,
it's just, it's interesting.
But like, this is an important part though, because this is when he sees the medallion in the grass.
Ah, yes,
the medallion with
the gold medallion with an M. A fancy M, end quote.
Fancy M, yes.
A fancy M, not a regular M. No. But
which brings Jack to the realization, which is I think the only smart thing he's done this whole time, is he realizes that means somebody else has been here before.
he's a very down to earth, right? You know, simple man. He writes down simple notes, and he's very smart. And he says, "Somebody's been here. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because the gold medallion in a time period before humans, like the dinosaurs, were just gonna like." So he's good there. He's good there. And but I do vaguely remember them. They like find a medallion, not like a medallion literally, but like a memory piece or something left behind in almost every book, don't they?
Yeah, it's that this is building the mystery. This is the plot, I guess. The overarching plot is if I remember right, is that the owner of this treehouse has gone to all of these areas, and I believe she has dropped something, and they have to collect them all, and it lets them see her or something like that. Like, I don't remember it exactly. Like you said in the beginning, we haven't even looked at these books in 15 years at least.
That's why I was saying, like, I vaguely remember it, but I'm pretty sure it's true, but I actually want to, like, I'm curious now how it develops, so we gotta read them all so I can continue, like, seeing what's going on. But, yeah, so he picks it up, and then he comes flying back to Annie, and, Annie does not give a single shit about the medallion.
She does not.
And she has taken off to the hill, and this is where we get to probably my favorite part is the tuba dinosaurs.
Tuba dinosaurs. It's Jack heard another sound as well, a deep bellowing sound, like a tuba.
And that is awesome. Like that is a tuba.
The tuba dinosaurs saved this book, is what we're saying.
Yeah. Oh, not to mention when Annie runs off, Jack goes, "I'm going to kill her."
I'm going to kill. Yeah. I wrote that down. That doesn't feel very kid book like.
Yeah, this is a kid's book. Jack is 8.5. He goes, "I'm going to kill her" when she runs off.
That would give you a PG-13 rating nowadays.
And so, okay, yeah. So they pull up on these dinosaurs after hearing these tubasaurs, and they get to the top, and they look, and they see a giant valley full of mud nests, and they're filled with all these like baby dinosaurs. And there is a picture that they drew of it.
Yes.
And it does look exactly like that. Jack's on top of the hill looking at these tiny like dinosaurs and eggs inside these little like circular mud nests. And it's actually kind of cool. This is a good picture. I'll give it that. I like it's a very good picture. Not much going on to it, but it gets the point across.
I say most of the pictures in this are pretty good at like they explain the scene and then show it to you, and like they're not like over the top amazing looking pictures most of the time, but they give you they show you exactly what you're supposed to be picturing.
Like it is, normally like you picture it while you're reading it, and then you look at the picture and you're like, oh yeah, like that's exactly what which is good. It like builds that young reader imagination. I like it. So yeah, Jack is like, don't panic, don't move. And then there's this is great. The huge dinosaur was towering above Annie, waving her arms, making her tuba sound. And during this whole time, I'm just picturing a dinosaur actually wearing a tuba.
Just like a tuba build dinosaur.
Hands, yeah, just like blowing a tuba, shaking their hands.
Just rapidly shaking, yeah.
Yeah, just like I was actually laughing during reading this. And then so they're freaking out because Annie's like, what's going on now? And Jack's like, don't make any, like, crawl back. And so Annie starts like slowly crawling back. And then this is my favorite part. The duck-billed dinosaur followed her, still bellowing. And so I'm just now imagining this like girl kind of like fearfully crawling back because she like intruded on these babies. And then this dinosaur just following her with a tuba, blaring her, like blaring it, kind of like that trumpet on Roblox that like follows it, everywhere you go. I'm imagining this dinosaur just following her, blaring a tuba, and it's way too funny to think about.
This next part, I think, was what I found extremely funny, was the fact that once Annie finally crawled back to Jack, he forces her to put her head down and pretend like she's eating grass, because that's what he read will make dogs not attack you. So this giant dinosaur, this angry mother, is pissed off that this little thing she's never seen shows up next to all of her babies. She's trying to defend her nest, and Jack goes, let's pretend that this dinosaur is gonna be, okay with you acting like you're just a plant-eating thing eating grass. Because how does he
somehow works?
And it does somehow work.
That's so weird. And then Jack's like, eat the grass. And it worked. Oh, and then so it somehow works. And this is by far my favorite line out of the entire book. Like by far. Is that it works. And then the mom is like, yeah, okay. And then Annie goes, I'm sorry I made you worry about your babies, and hands her a flower. And then the dinosaur reaches for another. Annie says no more, and quote, the dinosaur let out a sad tuba sound.
Yes.
And that made me lose it, because I am now imagining the dinosaur holding a tuba just going like it's just a sad tuba sound. That was the best imagery of the entire book, because I know exactly what that sound is.
Yeah, it really was, because even before the podcast, when we were reading this, I had said to you that sad tuba sound is my new favorite descripting word, descriptor of anything.
Sad tuba sound, and that was actually great. And so so he reads, he looks up what it was, and it was Anatosauruses, I think is what it was. The dinosaurs, and it says they lived in colonies. While a few mothers babysat the nest, the others hunted for food. And so they go look for some more, and they found some more, and one of them made another horrible tuba sound, and so Annie started chewing grass again, and the dinosaur ran away. So when in doubt, start chewing grass, and these dinosaurs are gone. I don't know what it is about chewing grass, but these dinosaurs are like, we out.
Well,
and then there's an illustration. Oh, go ahead.
I don't get what it was that. Okay, I mean, I do get it, but it makes it seem weird, because the dinosaur makes a weird tuba sound and runs off, but the only context we have up to that point is Annie says, she's nice too, Jack. And then it makes a really angry, a weird, angry tuba sound, and it runs away as Annie just starts eating grass.
Which, might I add, the illustration of it running away does make me kind of laugh.
It just looks like a duck head on a dinosaur body.
It looks like a duck on a dinosaur, and he's just like, meh, like he looks like he's saying meh as he turns around. His head is facing the other way of where he's running. And he just has his mouth out, and it just looks like he's going meh, or quacking. And then
I see that image, and I hear the sound from the Goose Game.
And then I try and add the sound of a tuba, and it gets really funny. Oh yeah, and then when they said what is it? Yeah, it says a terrible tuba sound, and when they're looking at the huge colony or whatever, it's and another, and another, and another. I'm just imagining a giant orchestra full of nothing but shitty tubas. just shit tons of tubas.
So a middle school band class.
Literally, yeah. I'm just imagining a middle school band class in the middle of this dinosaur era, and just a shitty orchestra. And honestly, this whole imagery of this scene was the best.
The duck dinosaurs are the best part of this.
By far. Yeah, so that was their run-in with the dinosaurs, and then they all start running away because in the distance starts coming a T-Rex, and so they're like, oh my gosh, a T-Rex, and so they start running to the tree house, and
I will say as soon as the duck dinosaur runs away, because they've seen the T-Rex, Jack rushes over to Annie, and I love this image of Jack running over to Annie while she's just bent over still eating grass. And she says, I wonder why she ran away.
Jack is very concerned, and Annie's just bent over eating grass.
Yeah.
It is honestly I will say.
But yeah, they see the T-Rex, and the next chapter, ready, set, go, they just beeline it to the treehouse to get away from the T-Rex.
Yeah, this one's just kind of like a very terribly described action scene. Like, it's like the TX was wandering off, and then it stopped and turned around, and then they both hunched down, and then they like peek out again, and, coast is clear, and so they make a run for it, and then they like get to the treehouse. Yeah, and then Jack's like, I forgot my book!
Because suspense. Because we need suspense in the last 5 pages of the book.
Somehow. And so Annie's like, okay, well then go get it. She's like, forget it. Like, we don't care. It's you wrote down the worst notes ever. Like, Annie's smart here. She's like, you wrote down, like, you can remember what you wrote down. Like, it was so stupidly simple.
It wasn't that it was his notebook. It was that it was the book from the library on the dinosaurs that he forgot. And he wasn't going to just leave somebody else's book in the world of dinosaurs.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was the notebook, but now it is the actual like book about all the dinosaurs. So that makes a lot more sense.
So then you get this like real like again like another like terribly set action scene of Jack trying to run without the T-Rex seeing him, getting the book and then hiding behind, I think it was a tree, because he didn't want the T-Rex to see him. Something happens, someone makes a noise, and the T-Rex still sees him. So it's like, super suspenseful as this T-Rex is coming up to this tree to eat this small 8.5-year-old child.
Yeah, he's coming for the kill shot.
We can get a picture of it.
Oh, yeah. It is.
My favorite part about this whole scene is while Jack is hiding behind a tree, trying to hide from this T-Rex that's just coming to eat him at this point, he opens up the book and reads about the T-Rex.
He's like, let's see, what's going on with it. And so he's like, and then it says, if it were alive today, it would eat a human in one bite. And Jack is like, all right, well, that's maybe I shouldn't have read the book. Like
maybe I shouldn't have stopped, let it catch up to me.
Yeah, maybe I would maybe I would have been better off trying to like build some distance. Like this was a bad idea. He was like all out of luck, and then what do you know? Out of nowhere, the pteranodon from earlier was gliding overhead and sailed down from the top of the hill, coming straight for Jack. What a nice coincidence. The pteranodon that they nicknamed Henry. Keep in mind, this is the same one that Jack was like, small brain ? Might be dumb ? Like the same one was on the way to save Jack. So Jack looks like an idiot here. I don't think he even realizes it, but I hope he does.
This part has some really great character building, though. At this part is when the pterodon comes down and lands in front of him. Jack has a moment of not wanting to get on it, while he thinks he basically debates. He's like, do I want to get on this dinosaur or do I want to get eaten by a T-Rex? It's a pretty hard decision, but he specifically says to himself, don't think, just do it, which is what Annie had said to him. So it shows that in these last 18 pages, he's really built himself up and become a braver character.
He's really out here. In the first book, he's really out here. Good old Jack. Maybe he'll be 9.5 by the second book.
Maybe.
Be ready to take on the world. But, so, yeah, I guess Jack stared at the pteranodon for a couple seconds and then just, like, got on. Like you said, don't think, just do it. And then so the pteranodon starts, like, taking off, and we get this, like, Titanic levels of hanging off the edge, free-floating. Well, that's kind of funny because Jack. Jack is, like, in this, like, cinematic flying throughout the mountainside. And they even have this, like, little image of, like, the dinosaur, the T-Rex, super pissed, like, running towards them, like, super
heated that he can't catch them, and then the pteranodon's like kind of like giving this like shit-eating grin, and Jack's still scared as shit.
I will say this is the only image that I have an issue with, and I hate the front leg on the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It's
just
really
something off-putting.
And the legs that like curl, like his toes curl. Oh,
yeah,
it's
like there are 3 individual toes that go all the way up past the curl before they connect.
And he looks like it looks like a fat leg.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Sorry for cutting you off. I had to point out that I don't like that leg.
I'm mad. Mad now.
I just dropped your score.
Yeah, I gotta go to the next page. I can't look at that anymore. Yeah, so that happens, and then basically the Pteranodon, they have this little cinematic moment, probably some music going on in the background, I'm not too sure. And then it stops and lets Jack off, and Jack's like, "Bye, Henry." And then he's staring at the Pteranodon as it leaves, and then he's like, "Thanks for saving my life." And then he's still scared shitless, his legs are wobbling, and he finally heads back up to the treehouse after he sees the Tyrannosaurus is still charging directly at him.
Yeah, it's weird. The dinosaur didn't stop chasing after its prey after it went like 10 feet to the left.
Like, I'm hungry. Didn't stop. So yeah, Jack books it up to the treehouse, and we're still in like big suspense. And I like how it just like randomly out of nowhere. Oh wait, no, yeah, I lied. So they book it up to the treehouse, and then they're scared as crap. And then Annie's like, "Make a wish," and then they start digging through the books trying to find the picture of their hometown, because they mentioned earlier that their hometown was in one of the books, and that is what they are trying to do, because they realize that to get here they were looking at a picture of here. So they're like, well, maybe if we look at a picture of hometown we'll go back. So quite smart there, 8-year-old Jack really moving on up. And then so they find it, and then they make a wish, and a bunch of traumatic stuff happens, and then everything's still, the wind moves. Oh, this is another thing too. Quote, "The wind began to moan softly at first." And I honestly got the wrong idea, and I just
me too.
Weird diction. Like, they're sitting there, a dinosaur's chasing after them, they're freaking out trying to get home, and the wind's just like, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Why did they choose this word?
That's a weird sentence in general. Just yeah.
So everything's going on, and then Jack closes his eyes and holds tightly onto Annie. So Jack is the largest bitch there is. Jack's like controlling Annie, doing stuff, but then when like shit hits the fan, he's closing his eyes and holding on to Annie. So I don't know if he was trying to protect her, but I feel like if he was trying to protect her, he'd keep his eyes open. I think he's just a giant bitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, they finally imagine that they make it back home safe. They teleport back to where they were, and they add in a very important detail, and that is that no time had passed since they'd left. So whenever they're gone in the treehouse, time is frozen in the main timeline, which is, I guess that's like a small tad bit of information that helps. So, yeah, so they're back, and
their mom's yelling for them because it's dinner time.
Yep. Because it's dinner time. And, what was it? Yeah, so they're talking about what happened. And then Jack... Oh, yeah. So they're like, do you think M stands for magic person? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I do think it's for magic person. I do. Thank you, book. And then so Jack says, no one's going to believe our story. And I'm just like, I wonder why. Like,
yeah. Well, they go through the list too. They're like, Mom's not gonna believe it. Dad's not gonna believe it. He's gonna think we're crazy. And I think they say like the teacher's not gonna believe it.
Yeah, and then it goes. So they just decide to like scrap the idea of telling everybody. So they've just ran into this scientific gold mine that could solve so many unsolved mysteries. But due to a slight fear that they might not be believed, they're just gonna like forget about it. Like we could really solve some problems here, and they're just like, nah, they might think we're crazy. This one's weird because he's like grabbing the medallion and it says he felt the engraving of the letter M. It made Jack's fingers tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly he felt very happy. What the hell is on this medallion that's out here numbing little kids' fingers? Like, in the back of my mind, a part of me wants this to be like a giant drug trip that only older me will pick up on the subtle hints throughout the series. But at the same time, I hope that it's not, because it would actually ruin the innocent childhood nature of these books.
Well, it's
always going to be in the back of my mind.
It says, as they walked past all of the houses on their street, the trip to the dinosaur time did seem more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. And that's when he like reaches into the pocket, grabs the medallion, and then his fingers tingle and he feels happy. And then Jack, immediately after that, now addicted to this thing, says, "Tomorrow, we'll go back to the woods."
Yeah. He goes, "Tomorrow, we'll go back to the woods." And then Annie's like, "Yeah!"
And he's like, "Fuck yeah, I want to touch more dinosaurs."
So we have this very, like, unhealthy relationship going on here with the numbing agent on the medallion and the magic treehouse. And so that does lead us to believe that the next book will take place one day after, maybe?
Yeah. The Night at Dawn.
Yeah, that is the next one, is The Night at Dawn. They give us a little preview of it. So next week will be The Night at Dawn, which looks like about going to some medieval times and running into a night at dawn.
And when you say preview, what you mean is the first, like, 4 pages of the book, which is like a third of what the book will be.
Yeah, it was like half the book. Yeah, so this is what happened, and that was this plot summary of this first one, Dinosaurs Before Dark. And I'm gonna start with the judging. I don't know. I think it was a decent book. With the entertainment, it's still gonna be a 5 because I don't know.
Yeah.
The pictures were good. The pictures I'd say a 5. Some are bad. Some are good.
I gave the pictures a 6 because even if like pictures down the line are better, I still feel like the pictures in this were better than just like a middle ground picture, because like we said, they really showed off what you were imagining in the scene, which like they were really good at showing that. And I feel, other than that one dinosaur leg, that they were all like really well done too.
Yeah, they were all pretty dang good pictures. I do agree with that. Yeah, I can't see nothing, but I'll give them a 5 for now, just because I don't know what to base them on. And then we have like the chapter names, which we'll go through right now. The first chapter is Into the Woods. That's kind of suspicious. I like that. That's like, we're just heading into the woods. 2 is The Monster. So it's like, okay, so we have a monster in the woods, maybe. 3 is Where Is Here? ? That's a little interesting. It's like, okay, what happened? Where are they? 4 is just titled Henry, and
That's a great title.
It's just Henry.
I kind of like if you take the rest of the book out of remove the book and just take the chapter names out of context, which is kind of what this segment is in general. I like the thought of someone saying, "Where is here?" and then someone's reply being Henry.
Henry. Where is here? We're at Henry. Gold in the Grass. Yeah, Gold in the Grass. Dinosaur Valley is chapter 6. That one's kind of bland. It's too specific for me to make fun of it. So yeah. 7 is pretty good. Ready, Set, Go.
Yeah,
I like that one. It's just like, I don't know what we're going for, but we're ready, set, go. 8 is A Giant Shadow.
What is it a shadow of is the question.
Which is even funnier because number 9 is The Amazing Ride.
Yep. And then number 10 is Home Before Dark.
Yeah, so we have Ready, Set, Go, Amazing Ride, Home Before Dark. And that honestly might give this one like a 9, even though it's the first.
Yeah. No, I put down for chapters. I put down 5 just because we don't know. But like I did put beside it a 7, like as a like future just in case.
Like, this one might be a gold mine. We don't know, because that is like ready, set, go, big old shadow, amazing ride, home before dark, and I love that. I truly love that. So
it's not how it's meant to be read, but I love it.
Yeah, it's not what they intended, but it is what I intended, and that is perfect. Well, that is all of the chapter titles for this book, and so that was pretty much Dinosaurs Before Dawn. Do you have any thoughts?
Before dark. We need to do the length, I guess. The length category, which I just put as 5. I feel like that number is going to go down in the future, just because it's honestly a 20-page story with like 15 pages of extra stuff.
Yeah.
And inside those 20 pages are like full page pictures.
Pictures, yeah. It's tiny.
Yeah.
It is tiny. Well, I'm like, oh, we didn't do our interesting tidbit of information for this week. Well,
the weird
I already
fact.
Know. Yeah. And it is indeed what I sent you earlier.
Yeah,
and it
that's
is the fact
kind of what I figured.
There is a Magic Treehouse anime.
It's specifically a movie.
Yeah, well, I see, but if you go to the YouTube video for the trailer, it shows like a bunch of them. I don't know if that's related to the Treehouse or if it's just the company that makes them. But I don't know because I can't read Japanese.
Based on the small like description I read of it, is it takes like 5 of the books and smashes them together into one movie to give the whole plot of what these first like 20-something books are. The story of what these books are.
Interesting. I definitely think we have to watch it and do a podcast about it.
I agree. We definitely have to.
We'll do it like 10. It don't matter. We'll do it like 10 books in or so, maybe. Or like we'll do a special. We'll do a special.
Maybe we can invite some people in and do a watch together with people and just
we can do a watch.
We can just do like a straight up watch together and post that. And then, like, somehow share a way for other people to watch it if they want to, and they can watch it with us or something. We'll think of something. We'll think of something.
Yeah. So that was the tidbit fact about it, and so there is a Japanese anime movie around the Magic Treehouse, and I honestly was not expecting that.
There's also that Anne Frank one, and a Helen Keller one. I sent you the Helen Keller one.
I really want to watch the Helen Keller one also.
I could not find anything on the Helen Keller one, though. Like, there wasn't even a description for it. No one had given, like, any reviews on it. Like, I could not find anything other than that small page with those few screenshots. Anyways, that's a whole different topic.
True.
So what are your thoughts on this book overall?
I think it was good. I'm glad that we are starting to read them because I remember that they were pretty good books and there's something to do and they are enjoyable, and I actually am looking forward to reading more of them, which I am not a large book reader, but these ones are mildly entertaining to me, and so I like that. And I'm glad that they are still as entertaining to me now at 20 years old as they were when I was 7.
Yes, yeah. I agree with you there. Like, I'm not a huge reader, but like I'm enjoying this for the simple fact that it's like a 20-page story. You read it in 20 minutes, if that, with taking our notes, like 20 minutes. And yeah, we're looking at it in a whole different light as a 20-year-old it's interesting.
Kind of fun, yeah. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun. So I guess that's the podcast. If you guys want to, whoever's listening to this wants to have a vague understanding of what's going on in the second episode, the next book is The Night at Dawn. You can read it and I guess listen to the second episode whenever that comes out. If you have anything you want to say about Dinosaurs Before Dark, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Or if you want to tell us we're stupid and pronounce dinosaur names wrong, go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be kind of fun if you guys also read the books along with, if you're interested, because they are good books and they're short reads. They don't take that long.
Mhm.
I'm not going to condone anything, but they are pretty easy to get a hold of because they are from the 90s. But yeah, we'll let you know what's coming up for the next week, each week, and then if you want to read and join along, then you can, and we would love to hear your opinions also on it, and we might feature some of them inside the podcast if you leave them. So that I believe is all for this one. Thanks for joining on the first episode of the Crapcast, I think we're gonna call this. And we hope to see you next Friday. We're going to try and do this every Friday, I believe, as of now. And it might turn into a annual Christmas podcast, though.
Just like the rest of the chat.
We'll finish up with book 55 in about 2070. That makes sense. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Wait, you don't watch the podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Well, I mean, I'll have like little pictures and stuff showing to like the pictures of the book and stuff. So, I mean, if they want to watch, they can, but it's going to be mostly a listen thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Have a good one.